Warning, this highly educational spider control video has had its warning removed. During the Australian summer of 2017/2018, I decided to formulate a method of controlling my redback spider infestation. Because I did an extensive study of the redback spider via my spider tank the summer before, I now understand their breeding cycle and very important times to control these spiders. I'm very careful in my spider control methods. I don't like using chemical controls because I don't want to kill off the things that are my friends in the garden. Although, as I'm finding out from studying what goes on in the backyard, some friends in the garden are not as useful as I first thought. There are times, very select times, when I use chemical control to pull back the redback spider numbers and try to stop them from re-establishing their homes. But what I'm finding time after time, chemical controls have a very short-term effect. What I am finding, there are some products and processes that are really good at stopping spiders from setting up homes in their favourite spot. For me, this has been one of the major wins in the battle against the redback spider in our backyard. And the best part about this method is it's targeting the spiders and it doesn't target anything else. One major hallmark of the Australian redback spider is its ability to adapt to an unnatural environment. It also has a peculiar breeding cycle that enables it to basically hop country and breed on in huge numbers. This small black spider with a pretty red stripe on its back is sadly a deadly pest. They can be very difficult to control and can be very persistent in returning to the same places year after year. This video is a fairly intense study of my control methods. I'm hoping that you learn lots from this video. I know Google are going to struggle with this style of video, but I'm going to persist in trying to educate people in understanding these amazing spiders. Okay, let's do it. Well, hello everyone. I know lots of people would be wondering how the redback spider infestation has been going in my backyard. I've actually had some processes happening to control them, and we'll be taking a look at that in this video. But most disturbingly, there's Mummy's gloves out in the backyard. Let's sort those out. I've told Mummy time and time again, that is a spider nest waiting to happen. I can fix that. And there's nothing boring about my method. Okay, I don't think anything's going to survive that. It's probably World Environment Day. Every time I do this, it always is. Well, I'm making this video right up near the end of the Australian summer. All our grass has died off. It's been extremely dry, extremely hot summer. And what I've done this year, because I've started to understand the redback spider's life cycle, especially the way they lay eggs and the time it takes for eggs to mature, is I've had this process that I've done up in between the tubs here to try and pull back their numbers. If I look carefully between some of these tubs, yes, I can see redbacks. Hopefully they're not too mature. And what I like to see is ant activity. Ants are my friends in this fight. Now I'm hoping that if I use my monkey tool here and I do the old drag between the tubs, I'm not going to find anything majorly substantial as in egg sacs or anything, because hopefully I've come along and done a little process that stops them from doing their funky stuff with egg sacs and developing some sort of life cycle that breeds on huge numbers. I can't see any spiders there yet. Mind you, I just saw a redback spider drop here. Yes, there's one on the ground there. Oh yes, it's angry, okay. There it is, they're playing dead for a bit and on the run. Now the good news for me here is this is a small one. I can't see any egg sacs that came out as well. Just grab her. I'll just see if the ants want a bit of a nibble of that one there, hey? That'd be a lovely little feast to have, wouldn't it, hey? Yeah, she's putting up a bit of a stink, isn't she? I've got no intention on letting her live, put it that way. I'm trying to get rid of these things. They are nothing but pests. Yes, I'm sure the ants are going to have a lovely little feast there. Nature feeding nature, I love it. I think there's actually another smaller spider under there. I'm going to try and get it out. My monkey tool. There's another female there, growing. Ooh, quite agile, isn't it? Hey, I'm going to feed you to the ant. Don't you go away, dearie. You're going to be the next bit of ant food. Okay, there's the other spider there. I'm sure those ants are going to sort it out for me. Go, ants, go. Well, there's one thing that I've learned about ants. You just don't mess with them. I tell you, they are incredible killers in the backyard. Really good at cleaning stuff up. It doesn't take long for the ants to get the signal out, does it? Hey, and they come in great numbers. And those two redback spiders there are beautiful ant food now. But hopefully, if I keep doing this monkey tool business, I'm not going to be dragging out the giant mother redback spiders that I've had in the past here. And very, very shortly, I'll show you my little process that I've been doing to stop those giant mothers from evolving. It's pretty clean, isn't it? A little bit of web there, but nothing major, and especially, what's most important, no egg sacs. I think it was up here I saw a female feeding. Maybe I'll get her out with this. Okay, have I got her out yet, or has she done a scamper on me, hey? There she is. Whoa, she's running for her life, and she is. You've got to look very carefully when they're this size, and they're only small. There she is there. And she's now on the monkey tool there, and that's a young female, which hasn't quite got the colours yet. Just gonna, wow, she's sprightly, tell you. Okay, and there's some ants over here. Give it to the ants, hey? And she's hard to see because she's the same colour as the ground, but she's right in the middle of the screen, and there's ants having a feed, crawling all over her. That's great to see. In fact, those ants are going to town on her. Look at that. Literally ripping her leg to leg. That's quite amazing to see, isn't it? Go, ant colony, go! That's amazing. They're actually lifting that small female redback spider up into the hole there. That's where the ant nest is. I love it. Bring it on, bring it on. It won't be long now, just about gone. The ants have pulled that redback spider, and it's right in the middle of the screen. It's hard to see. Right into the ant colony there. Totally amazing. You gotta see it to believe it, I tell you. I love it. Yes, I like that a lot. Seeing the redback spiders getting devoured by ants. And before I do my process here, I'm just going to wet the garden a bit, especially over the back there. Okay, because as I found out, if I do this, let's say on a 4 or 5 weekly basis, I can control the redback spiders and stop them from getting into the breeding cycle of laying eggs and breeding up huge numbers. So I've got this weed dragon thing. It's only a baby one. It's sort of useless for weeds, but it's actually quite good for this purpose here. And I turn it on, and if I turn it upside down, I get a flame like that. And what I've been doing, very simply, is coming through with a flame like this. Okay, going right up between the tub there. And any sort of spider action and stuff that's going on there is going to be taken out. And I've done this every 4 to 5 weeks, but I've got to be very careful about the sort of temperature that it is, that it's not too hot and there's not a total fire ban, because it is our summertime, but this is very, very effective. And it's just a case of being thorough, making sure you get all the areas, because it only takes one little area to be missed and a spider sort of has a chance of continuing on. The best thing about this method is it's not that crazy hot that it's destroying Mummy's garden. Okay, so Mummy knows that I've had the flamethrower through the garden because everything suddenly dies, but this takes out all of the spiderific action that these tubs have attracted, and because I understand their life cycle, the way they lay their eggs and the times it takes for the eggs to hatch, I can nail them before they get their chance to breed on. And once I've done that hot work there, I come through and I give the garden a bit of a water, knowing that there are no spiders between the tubs, no egg sacs, no breeding. Good night, sister. And the really good news is the ant colony are still munching away on Mrs. Redback Spiders. These tubs here, there's now only 2. There used to be 3. It was another hotspot for redbacks. I've just put the little flamethrower down between those pots there, and I have scored myself a little female right in the middle of the screen there. There's a closer look at it there. That flame isn't like the massive flamethrower which totally knocks them out fast. There's a bit of life left in her there, but I don't think she'll be around for much longer. Also, just done this tub here. You can see it's been burnt a couple of times, and a very, very small female redback spider is down there. And I've just put her in a spot where the ants can find her, so there's a bit of a feed for the ants, and they'll communicate to each other and it's another lovely meal. And if I bring over the other redback spider from the other tubs, we can have a party of two there. Oh, we're getting some nasty ant action now. They're coming in for their bites. That redback is sort of semi-alive. Won't be for long, will it, hey? And just as we're looking at this here, let me throw to some other horrific footage, which is reversed around the other way. During the middle of summer, and I captured this very quickly on my iPhone, I caught a skink that had captured a redback spider. Now, I know that redback spiders capture skinks, but it's very, very, very rare to see this flipped around the other way. I had to be very fast. The skink didn't hang around for very long. It was a wonderful thing to see. I'll add some extra audio here. You know what? I nearly missed this. It takes fairly eagle eyes to spot little things like this. It's a small female redback spider, and it's just confirmation that in the backyard there is a war going on all the time. The lizards, skinks, and ants are definitely my friends in this spider battle. I would have more faith in the ant colonies in the backyard because sadly the lizards and skinks are killed by the cats. And sure enough, we've found a dead baby blue-tongued lizard. Extremely saddening to see. Oh, those ants are getting frantic now. I tell you, the message is out. They've communicated in the way they communicate, and I don't know how they do that. Yeah. Definitely good night, sister, little Mrs. Redback Spider. Well, with the whippersnippers staying next door, I dare say that's my cue to go inside for a while and come back and look at some more redback spiders very shortly. Okay, while our neighbours are making some noise, let's talk about these redback spiders. Let's learn things about them and how I've understood them as well from witnessing how they operate and my control methods, which is a bit different. Okay, the male redback spider apparently has 5 molts. They call it instars. Okay, not that I've ever seen that occur in a male. I've seen a female molting. The male looks like this. It's a very small spider. That's not a very good drawing of it, but it's got like little pom-poms at the front. Maybe it's best if I edit in some video here of a male redback spider because that looks far more awesome than my dud drawing. You can see those little pom-poms, as I'm calling them. Well, I call them pom-poms. They've probably got a real name. And hopefully you can see the spider in relationship to the female redback spider. I dare say that male is a fully mature male. And apparently, because I've done some reading up about them, half of their life is spent maturing to this size. What I noticed about the male redback spiders is they tend to be fairly sprightly. They move around pretty quick, and you know why? Because those girls that they're dealing with are deadly. And here's a bit of trivia about the source video to show you the male redback spider. It's one of the many videos of my spider study which has either been age restricted or demonetized. What I'm finding is YouTube is picking off these videos one by one because, well, they just can't handle the fact that I've done a redback spider study. So I dare say I am totally wasting my time pulling this video together. Anyway, back to my cruddy educational drawings. It lives for 6 to 7 months. I'm curious to know. I only got that from the wiki page. It says it relies on the females for feeding. Yes, I can understand that. It will hang about on the periphery of the female's web. And it's eaten by the females in the breeding process. A bit of a curious thing the way these spiders breed. In fact, the male's quite insignificant in the whole process. And the female can actually go on for multiple years without needing to keep interacting with males. I dare say there's plenty of girls that like to have it like that, hey? Anyway, before I get into any more trouble, female redback spider apparently has got 8 molts or 8 instars, okay? It lives for 2 to 3 years. I think it's the ones which get into the second and third year are the ones I really want to nail, especially the big third-year mothers, okay? It can survive without food for up to 300 days. That's how they get under shipping containers and all and take over the world, okay? That's a maximum number. Apparently that got studied. Not by me, but someone else. The egg sacs have an average of 250 spiders. That's the scary part. Okay, so let's say a large female lays 4 egg sacs. Okay, 250 times 4. Scary maths, you get 1,000 little spiderlings. So here's my scary spider maths. Let's imagine if we got 4 large breeding females that can generate 1,000 little spiderlings in a season. Times 4 equals 4,000 little nightmares. We've got to try and bring this figure right down, back to 4 if we can. Okay, well let's just say half of them are male. I don't know the divide between male and female, but let's pull it down to 2,000, okay? Half are eaten by sister. Well, I think a lot of this goes on, and I've pulled it down again, so we're down to 1,000. I think there's a lot of spiderlings that eat spiderlings. Half are killed by the weather, and these spiders like to live in a temperature zone of this. Now, our summer we've just had plenty of days that were over 40 degrees C. In fact, we had one which was up to 47 degrees C. We're down to 500, okay? Half are killed by prey. But you need the prey to be around. We're down to 250. I think the big problem in my backyard is on the prey. Half are killed by just being plain unlucky like me. So we're down to 125, and this is a passage of time here because time continues on up to 3 years for these spiders. Half are killed by a second weather event, be it too hot or too cold or whatever, too rainy. We're down to 62. Okay, half are killed by the prey again because, well, we're going through different seasons, aren't we? So we're down to 31. Okay, half are killed by another sister attack because, well, that's the way they operate, isn't it? Sister likes to take out sister. We're down to 15. That's still a lot of breeding females, 15 spiders, okay? Half are killed by another prey event, so I'm calling it prey event number 3. So it brings us down to 7 large breeding females. But my problem is, that's 7 large breeding females that have trickled their way to being mature. The problem is we started with 4. Now, if 7 do survive, and this is all just hypothetical, well, 7 large breeding females can generate 7,000 spiderlings. That is in a spider-friendly season. So what I've got to try and do is make it as an unfriendly season as possible. And this then moves on to my little chart of how I've controlled the spiders. So my spider control method really relies on understanding the egg sac cycle from the larger females, and it takes between 4 to 8 weeks for an egg sac to open up for the spiderlings to go flying everywhere. Let's just call it 6 weeks. It's really weather dependent apparently, and I know how to ID the areas where the webs are. This is really important. Understand where these spiders are hanging out, okay? And there are certain zones they love. Now note that this, well, spider season, the only large female redback spider, the big one I found, was under my Toyota, and it was a nightmare to pull out. That's the only massive mother I found. Let me just add something here, because that large breeding female that was underneath my Toyota Hilux had all the hallmarks of being a very mature spider in the way the webs were set up going down to the ground, and it was very, very timid. What I'm finding is the spiders that mature on to be multiple years old are the really, really smart spiders. This spider was one of the most difficult spiders to lure out of its nest area, and boy was I happy to grab it. But this was the only very large breeding female that I found in this spider season. It was the previous summer season where I found all of the large breeding females that were in the backyard and mainly around the Tonka toys. Now this leads us to my very peculiar calendar here. It's going to confuse people in the Northern Hemisphere because this is based on the Southern Hemisphere Australian conditions, and it's also strange because I've started the year in August. That's our winter time, and we progress through spring to summer. I'm calling it fall, we call it autumn, just so I don't confuse all of you, and then back to winter. Maybe to comfort some of you, and this is a very important time, the end of October. I'm going to put a H here for Halloween. The redback spiders basically go into hibernation during winter time, so winter time's here and here. I've only ever found one in winter. It was hiding out on the ladder, and I did a video about that one. But you'll start to see web going into September. You'll certainly see a lot of activity into October, and you'll start to see egg sacs developing here. So this is my first burn time. That was last year. I did the burn around the backyard and all of the spider hotspots, okay? I made it even a hotter hotspot. And I know the cycle, so I thought, well, I'll come in December, okay, and do another burn. It's a bit tricky in the Australian summer because we have a lot of fire bans and stuff. So if I find a wet day, there weren't many of those, I'll come in and do a burn. The one I've just done is I'm calling it the February burn, okay? And as you've seen, I haven't pulled out any large breeding females or egg sacs. I think my processes work. I'll come along again, and in April there, I'll do another burn, and hopefully that'll get me through, and I won't need to do any during winter. So my burn cycle, like, it isn't crazy burning. It's using that lazy flame on that weed dragon thing. It's really coming in on that peak spider season, and I'm being the major predator because, well, basically these spiders have been running amok for too many years. I think if I do a couple of years of this, I'm going to nail my redback spider problem. Let's just imagine for a moment we're not dealing with redback spiders, but we've moved to America. We're dealing with the black widow spider, a very similar style spider. Well, your seasons are flipped around versus mine, and you'd be coming in and starting your controls in, let's say, May, June and July, okay, because that's your summertime here, and you'd be finishing up in August and September. But what I really like about this method here is that I'm taking out hopefully only the spiders and not my friends the ants or anything else that is my friend in the garden. Well, I hope this constitutes as being educational, or else I'm going to get fried. I wonder whether the very harsh summer that we've just had has pulled the numbers right down. I know some people are going to argue about this one here, but let's say even if that figure is 2,000, well, we still trickle down to having, you know, way too many breeding females. That's the whole thing about these spiders, hey? Yeah, look, they're fascinating spiders. I learned a lot by looking at them in the spider tank. A lot of people said, oh, but Leo, that was just, you know, spiders killing spiders. Well, they seem to neglect to remember that there were lots of spiders that were born in our spider tank. It was just alive with spiderlings. And we noticed that, well, the spiderlings ate spiderlings. It was mega goodnight sister. Well, okay, it looks like they've mowed the lawns next door. The noise has stopped, I hope. Look at the pumpkin vine this year, hey? Oh yes, it's excellent. I've just been watching the bees going to the flowers, and my wife was pointing out to me some of the flowers are male and some were female, which I've forgotten what she said. I think she said the tall ones are male. Or maybe I'm totally wrong there. I'm always getting those sort of facts wrong. Let me take you to a little spot where I know the redbacks love to go to time after time after time. And it's this piece of metal right there. This is a tailpipe from a small jet engine, and it's got like a barbecue grill thing going on inside there, but you can see the redback spider web there. And if you look real carefully, and it's going to be right in the middle of the screen, the redback spider is there. Its web network is quite extensive in there. It's actually all the way up here, and it sort of goes around, a lot of it down the bottom there, going to the pavers at the bottom. But the main thing is I can't see any egg sacs. But it's time to deal with this spider. I'm not sure if I can lift this out and we can have a bit of a better look at her. She might stay on this for me. Yeah, she's starting to get a little bit agitated that I'm playing with her. Hopefully there's a nice echoey focused shot of her there. She's very small because I kept burning this out every couple of weeks, so there's no chance from the breed up bigger than that. And there's actually another one there, very hard to keep focus on. Yeah, double stinger. Okay, Mrs. Redbacks, time for your hot date. Good night, sister. I can't see any spider action in there now, and if I just look underneath this thing, it's nice to have things where I know the spiders will set up, because then I can kill them, can't I? Oh, I can see her there on the ground there. Let's take a look. There she's there. There's no life left in her. Double goodnight sister. She's a goner. That there was the area where she would have been feeding. That jet pipe was there. It's a strange sort of area to get stuff, isn't it? But what's under here, and it may become a spider zone. Ugh. Okay, it's my Dyson collection, and I'm very fearful that the redbacks have decided, ooh, that's a lovely place to live. I hope that that's a friendly wasp to be near. Now I can see it properly, and whatever it's doing there, I think it's a friendly one. If it isn't, I'm in a lot of trouble. I'm right close to this thing. But yeah, it's getting some pollen. Well, I've never seen that before. That is just utterly amazing. All in your backyard. Is it a paper wasp or is that a mud dauber? I think I might have been correctly called that. I think it's a mud dauber, I hope. Whatever it is, it's too preoccupied with the pollen there and it's not stinging me. That's the main thing. Because I am way, way too close to it. Even though we've had a chronically hot and dry summer, the garden has been booming. We've been doing a lot of watering to get that going. There's the pumpkin vine again, and I'm headed to the spot where I did the Redback Spider study versus Tonka toys for a year. That was finished last Halloween, and I've laid in these toys for this year, or should I say garden ornaments and toys. That's the new grader, January 1st, 2018. If the ant colony hang around this, we won't get spiders. This is something from Aldi. It's basically like something you put your pot plants in here. And when I saw these metal trucks and stuff, I just knew straight away the spiders would love to live in those. Now, in essence, I've only been here a short time. I am semi-curious to see if anything is setting up underneath these, and you watch me get bitten by a spider here. Okay, what have we got going on under there? Ooh, oh, I just saw something run then, but it wasn't a redback. That's rather curious, because you know what, it's looking pretty clean. Now, as I learned, because there's ant colonies around here, they can really disrupt the cycle of these spiders. Okay, and this red truck here I won't touch, but what I also found, and I think this here is the ultimate little redback spider home. I found these in the reject shop. They're like little planters in a sense. They're all metal. And if you look up under here, what I'm going to do is paint these white inside there so they're easier to see. And maybe invert that pot there. I almost thought I could put like security surveillance cameras in this with different lenses on them and make it into like a garden spider study thingo. It might be a funky thing to do. I need to get some really fancy lenses on those cameras. That's already white inside there, isn't it? Almost. When I saw these, wow, that's like the perfect redback spider home. I'm just over here looking at Mrs. Cocky and Mrs. Cow, and Mrs. Cow is often a redback favourite. Oh, there's some cicada shenanigans going on down there. It's way past the cicada season now. We had a big one. And if I carefully look up under here, oh yes, I can see. I can definitely see web up there. I can't see a spider. Anyway, I'll put Mrs. Cow back to where she was. Yes, there's a cicada shell there. That was under Mrs. Cow and the carcass of a cicada there. Ugh. This here is just on our back veranda, and during summertime we had an orb weaver here which has now passed away and laid an egg sac. The remnants of her web is there, and what was very curious, and I was able to watch this go on, I didn't do a study of it, I just watched it with my own eyes, is that there, I'll push this down here, that was the egg sac, and it has hatched. I believe all the spiderlings have come out of that. And if I look really carefully here, one of these leaves has the dead spider. There it is there. Okay. There's the orb weaver that was died in there. It's like Charlotte's Web, but it was for real life. Can you see the spider there? It passed away a couple of weeks back now. You can see the ants have been feeding on this. And it laid its egg sac into a leaf. It was just fascinating to watch. But strangely enough, it sort of all became food for the ants. And those leaves had fallen down there. Where she had set up a little home was actually up on this branch here. And you can just see the remnants of her web that she was using a couple of weeks back now when she was alive. I did take some rough footage of this very large, beautiful garden orb spider with my iPhone. It was a time when I just had enough of YouTube, so I wasn't really making anything at that time. It was a smart spider as well because it set up right near our bug catcher on the back porch. So there were things being attracted to the bug catcher, and she had her web next to this bug catcher. She was also collecting some fairly large critters. I was quite surprised in what she would collect, but sometimes they get away. I did take a photo of her just as she passed away. I think these spiders live for a year, but I may be wrong there. Please correct me if I'm wrong. And I also took a photo of her egg sac, which is like woven into a leaf. I think they do this to camouflage it from predators. I'm pretty sure there'll be a few of her many offspring that will survive, and one of them will come back to this exact same spot next year. And while I'm here, there's some critter being dissected and pulled apart by the ant colony here. I've got no idea what that is there. I can tell you one thing, it's not alive. I can tell you another thing, it's a massive meal for the ants. I'll tell you what, I actually pay a lot more attention to where the ant colonies are in our backyard, and the colonies do move around, and there's always seems to be battles between them. There was also praying mantises working this part of the garden here. Very hard to spot. Often they'll be like hanging underneath something, okay, the way they work. They like to hang underneath things. Look how dry it's been. Wow. This here hasn't been watered that much. And the only time I could really spot a mantis easily was when they were on a bit of foliage that wasn't their colour. So a green mantis on something like that was fairly easy to pick. Yes, and when I saw Mr. or Mrs. Mantis, I got the iPhone out again. I wasn't that keen on making videos during the summertime because YouTube had been hammering me all summer long basically and really made me turn away. But seeing the beautiful mantis made me happy. Against the green, she camouflages beautifully, very tricky to see, you have to look very carefully. But when Mrs. Mantis, or is it Mr. Mantis, moves to another colour foliage, well, he or she sticks out like the proverbial. I can't really say what I want to say here, but you know what I mean. Very easy to see when she's not being camouflaged by the foliage. And I really feel that praying mantises are not a solution to my redback spider problem. I say that because I'm yet to see them lurching around in the area where the redback spiders like to set up. Well, this yellow bin here has often been redback spider zone, but I put that lithium grease on. Let's take a look underneath, see how it is. Well, the first thing to note is up under the handle area where the spiders often like to congregate. All that lithium grease has certainly made sure they can't set up their homes. I can't see the sign of a spider at all in that area. And this was done back in August 31, 2017, so it was like the end of our winter time, and we're at the end of our summertime now, so it's been extremely good for keeping the spiders out of this zone here. This is where the redback spiders love to be. What's that up there, hey? Oh yes, well, I can't quite tell through the viewfinder. You can tell me if you see any spiders or spider webs. Looking at the wheels as well, that's their other favourite little zone. White lithium grease, eh? Who would have ever thought? Fantastic for stopping spiders. That's what it looks like when it's in can form. I don't know whether you get it any other way. White lithium grease, blah blah blah. And it sprays on something like that, okay? And while I'm thinking of that white grease, I also did this wheelbarrow which had a passion for redback spiders. Let's see what's going on here. Well, I can't see any spiderific activity going on here. You tell me if you can see a spider. I can't see anything like that. Yes, it's a very, very curious method for stopping spiders from setting up home. Well, I've just now gone to the back of my Toyota, because it was a Toyota made in Thailand. I can see a redback spider web that's coming from the ground there up to this rear suspension area here. So often with these webs, there'll be leaves and things caught up in them. That's a good indicator when these webs are around. There'll be a redback spider here somewhere. I'm just going to spray it and I'll hope it drops down. There's no guarantee the spider's going to appear. That's why I like that fishing method, when I get a little insect and I tease the spider down. Oof, now I'm going to need choke on this stuff. So that there is one of the spiders I saw drop. I saw quite a few little baby, I'll call them baby females drop, eh? Horrible, isn't it? Good night, little sister. Get some more spray there. So for all I know, they may have been the offspring of that other giant mother spider that I pulled out from under my car. I'll just get rid of the drop down lines, and if I see those reappear, that means I've still got a spider. But I dare say, hopefully that spray there has sorted out the problem. This front control box that operates our front fence, this is often a home for redback spiders here year after year after year, until I gave it a dose of, and a lot of, the white lithium grease, and we'll put it this way, there's no web there, so there's no spider. Up on the entrance and the steps into our house, I've got two classic examples of redback spiderlings and the way they're set up. I think it's worthwhile seeing them in their smaller stage. There's this one here. It's been here for quite some weeks now. The spider has grown a little bit bigger. It's actually hiding right in the back there. Let me pull out some of the things that get caught up in this web. And they're curious spiders because they'll be in very obvious places when they're young, but yet when they get older they become very stealthy in where they set up. If I poke the back there, there's the spider there, right at the back. If I get in close to there, hopefully you'll see her. I'm assuming that's a her. Yes. There she is. Very yo, and there she runs. Good night, little sister. A little bit of spider spray. That's nailed her. And she didn't like that. She's going to run around like crazy. There's no coming back now, dearie. You're a goner. And just see a little red mark starting on her. Beautiful in one way, but in another way, not beautiful at all, because she would turn out to be a breeder. Good night, little sister. The other one here, she actually captured a sugar ant there that I'm poking there. Yes, quite curious where they set up a very obvious spot, not hiding at all, but where she's actually hiding out. Ooh, it's just in there, and I'll get closer for you. There's a quick look at her. She's a bit wary. She knows I'm here. I better spray her fast. Sorry about that, little sister. Good night. Well, I think she's ran back up here somewhere. She's scurried away. I can tell you one thing, she's not going to survive. Just before we go, and with the roar of another whippersnipper in another backyard, and I've got no control over that. You remember the stink bugs that were all over this citrus tree here? And people said, oh, but Leo, you're going to kill the citrus by doing what you've done. Well, this is some months later. Well, that citrus tree didn't die, and I can tell you what, I can't see a stink bug on this tree either. Oops, maybe I spoke too soon. There is a large stink bug. Let's deal with it. Good night, stink bug sister. It's gone. There it is down there. It's still moving a bit. That's alright, I can sort that out. Ah, toasted. Oh my crikeys, I hope we learned something in this video, because if we don't learn anything, then I get into lots of trouble. You're probably wondering, well, Leo, how come did you find those little redback spiders in your backyard? Now, the first point is, all I found were small ones. I didn't see any which were like multi-year, big mothers as I'll call them. I found a lot of those last year in my massive infestation, and because I go around on like a 4 or 5 weekly cycle, I can come in there, I can break their breeding cycle, and hopefully I can get control over these spiders. What I haven't got control over is the spiders basically floating on the wind as spiderlings from next door neighbours' yards or back door neighbours' yards, and them saying, oh, we've found the perfect backyard because, well, we've found the perfect homes to live in Leo's backyard. I'm hoping next summer I will find even less redback spiders, because I'm starting to understand exactly how they operate, and hopefully you do as well. Lots of people ask me, how's Fluffy going? What's happened to Fluffy? Fluffy is doing fine. She survived what was a very, very warm summer. We did take a lot of her coat out, one of those shredding combs that takes all of the fluff out. She's doing really well. Maybe if she's nice, she could do a sign-off for us. Mind you, she's not ever really that epic at signing off. You're going to do a nice sign-off for us, Fluff? Hey, come on. You do a sign-off for us, or you're just going to ignore me? Yes, I thought so. It's your classic cat ignore look. Thanks for that, Fluff.